Okay, welcome back to my class in stamping. This is the stamp set we're using for this class. It's a color layering stamp set from Hero Art. So you got the stamp set in your class kit. You also got a set of coordinating inks. Before we even start with that, I wanted to show you some examples of different types of color layering stamps. The whole concept behind a color layering, which is what we're going to be doing today, has to do with building up the layers. If you look on the back of this package, it's going to show you how you build the different colors to create the final product. So what you need to remember is your lighter color will be the most filled in stamp, and then the darker color will be the detail of the stamp, because darker will appear over the lighter. So if you stamped in dark and then tried to do detail on top, that's not going to really show up. So you go most filled in with the lightest color, and then all of your detail and fine lines and all that good stuff with your darker color. So that's the concept we're working on. And these are just some ideas of other types of stamps that are out there that use this technique. So and just showing too the stamp set we're using. This is very traditional, and I picked this one too because in the package you can't really tell what it is. It looks kind of wacky, and that's why I picked it. I thought, let's do something that's versatile, but and that you can do a lot with, but you wouldn't pick right off the shelf if you saw it in a store. So it turns out like this, but you can do with it, like I have this guy here where I incorporated, I have a this particular sentiment stamp that I used with it. So you can frame another sentiment you have. On this guy, I took the same stamp, and instead of using just the two tones of ink, I did pink along with the yellow. So you can do a lot of stuff, and this is all popped out as well. So lots of fun things you can do with that. So before we even do that though, I do want to focus on this, which is a background we did for this particular piece. I thought it'd be great to get warmed up doing a background. I know if you were in class with me, you'd have all of these goodies right at your disposal. So I'm just going to show you, in the event you don't, that you can learn how to do this technique. And it would be to do this kind of blended background. To do something like that, it creates a really nice background effect for all of your stamped images. And we're going to use this guy right here, which is a blending tool by Spectrum Noir. It comes like this, which has it has two of the little foams in there, which Velcro on and off. Super easy. And then you can use it. Or you can buy the refills, which comes, it looks like this, but it's just a stack of refills, because really you want to keep a particular color with a particular foam, so you're not cross-contaminating if you're using black and then going back to yellow. So if you have any of the smaller ink pads of the Hero that came in your set, or say this mini distress ink from Tim Holtz, these guys actually tuck in the bottom so you can store them like that, and then you have, you know, what goes with what, and you have a place to put it, because storage is always important. So to do basic blending, I know I gave you a stack of white cards to play with in your kit, so I'm just going to take one of those, and I'm going to take just because it's what I have handy, an orange card as a background so I don't ruin my workspace because I didn't have my craft mat. I'm going to take my little blending tool, and I'm going to put this guy on here, Velcro him on here. I'm going to start, I actually have, this is set 1 of the Tim Holtz Distress oxide inks. I know there's like 13 or something, or 15 sets. This is set 1, which looks kind of very Day-Glo in Miami, but together it creates this really nice rainbow effect. So I'm going to start with, actually we're going to do dark to light. So I'm going to start with the blue, which is this peacock feathers. And before I even stamp, let me show you how blending kind of works. If you can either spounce or swirl to get ink on there. But what you don't want to do is just do a big blob, because then that's a blob that you can't really buff and smooth out. Once it's down, and you're going to end up with a weird circle. So we don't want that. So what we want to do is have, either if you're doing an all over like a cloud, you do it all over. But if you're going to do like a section, like we're doing blue here, we're going to start and flick up like this. So I'm going to take a little bit of this blue on here, and I'm going to flick up like this, working from the bottom. Getting more on if I need it. And I'm going to go up just a little ways, but you can see how this just puts down some color. It's a really nice, easy way to put a background down like this. Super easy. And then I can switch, say, actually I should go up a little higher. Let's do that. little bit more. And the more you do an area, obviously, the more concentrated the pigment's going to be and the darker and deeper the color. Then I'm going to switch. I need green, but see, I don't have green. I've got yellow, orange, pink, blue. So we know from Sesame Street that yellow and blue make green. So what I need to do is take my blue up a little farther, and I will layer yellow over it so that it becomes green. So I'm going to go back to my blue, and I'm going to go, whoops, I'm going to go up a little bit higher than I thought I would with this blue. And don't worry if you get a little splotchy, not a big deal. It's not supposed to be absolutely perfect. So I've got my blue down. Now I do want to switch out my foam to the yellow and get some of this yellow on here. And we're going to go over and then above to get yellow, because that's also our next color. So I'm going over that blue to get green. And since this is a water-based ink, it dries really fast. I don't really have to worry about it mixing and making it green even up into the yellow. It will be okay. Oops. So you can kind of see what I'm doing here, just bringing that color up. And if I were to do, say, a sky background, like a night sky, I might do it in, say, like tuxedo black. And then I might add in a little blue to kind of add like more of a sky look. Like a gray, like a cloudy, you know? And now I'm switching to my orange. And this was a little heavy. And that's okay. I'm just going to have to smooth that out a little later. And I know, I mean, you can also use the blending brushes, which is a newer item. We have the ones from Nuvo. And it's a different consistency. It's like little fine hairs, almost like makeup sponges, but it's not the same as makeup. I know some people have said, oh, I got some makeup things on Amazon. Not quite the same. They're very absorbent because you're blending on skin, and skin is porous, totally different. This is paper. So you're going to find that if you use a makeup type sponge, it's going to really eat all of your ink and kind of waste your ink and really dry out your products quicker than you would have liked. So I would suggest you stay with the stamping products. They're different formulations. But the sponge for me works just well. So this is not felt, this is actual spongy. And that's why it, for me, it works really well with all of the different inks, be they dye and water or even permanent, for that matter. So that's just a quick and dirty. I should blend that a whole lot better, but I wanted to just show you how easy it is to do some fun backgrounds, and that's how you can do things like that with your color layering stamps. So let's shift into our project. You should either use a clear block, or if you have a stamping platform like a Misty. I have the really old We Are Memory Keepers one. We sell the Misty if you don't have one. It is a great product. I know years ago, a couple of years ago, there were a lot of people copying the Misty, making it a lot cheaper. Tim Holtz was among them, and it was a great product, and we sold it, but there was some copyright issues, lots of lawsuits. So anyway, the only thing that's kind of left on the market, to my knowledge, that's really good quality would be the Misty. So I would suggest, if you need a stamping positioner tool, that you use that. If you don't have a tool, you can use your acrylic block, where you just have to, you know, use your eyeballs to anchor it down. And the whole concept behind using a positioning type tool is because you're going to layer stamps and you're going to try and be stamping over the same image multiple times. Because when we're working with the clear polymer type stamps, it's a little different than red rubber. Red rubber is what has been out forever and ever and ever. And those will take any type of ink because it's red rubber. These polymer stamps, they're kind of like, they're waterproof almost. So most of the inks we use, including the Hero Arts ink, the Tim Holtz inks, the Memento inks, all of those are water-based inks, essentially. They're dye or water-based inks, so they tend to bead up on this and repel off of the plastic. So when you stamp, it's going to be blotchy and not super filled in, so you'll need to stamp it multiple times to get a clean impression when your stamp has a lot of filled-in images and it's not just an outline. That's why it's important to stamp it multiple times and really position it so you don't get a weird double image or a shadow. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to take my white card and position it landscape. In my press, if you have another press with magnets, you can anchor it however you wish. But I'm basically going to see where I'm going to position this first. So I'm going to start by doing my, what should I do first? I guess I'm going to do my leaf first. If I'm looking at my stamp set, these are my flowers, these are my leaves. So this is the all over background leaf, which will be the lighter green. And these are the veins for the leaf, which will be the darker green. These are the flowers on this side. So on our right-hand side, top right corner, I'm going to get this guy off here. Yeah, he is stuck. And you do want to feel it. Make sure you're doing it the right way. So the bumpies, the thing that's going to make an impression, not the smooth flat part, but the bumpies, the leaves, you want to make sure that's touching your paper so you don't accidentally stamp the wrong side. So I'm going to make mine kind of like this. I know where I want it to be. Then I can close my press and get it anchored up into my stamp positioner. I don't have any ink on this or anything. I'm just getting my stamp in place. So I've got my stamp. I'm going to go to, now you have the baby inks. I have the big ones, but they're the same color. So there's 2 shades of ink. We want to go with the lighter one because remember the detail, which is layering over it, will be darker. So I'm going to go with my lighter lime green. I'm just going to ink this guy up. And I'm going to stamp him. Now, your first impression, probably not that great. See, little blotchy. It's okay, but it's a little blotchy. So that's the beauty of using a positioner. If I used an acrylic block, I'd want to really eyeball it, line it up, do it again. In this case, I don't have to worry about that because I've got my positioner. So I get more ink on it, and I can making sure it's all anchored down. And I'm going to stamp it in the same spot. And that is pretty good. Now I need to do my detail. So I'm going to peel this off. And I'm going to go back to my little stamp set. So right below the most filled in is the little veins for the leaf, which I already peeled off, and they look like this. So here I need to, it's kind of like putting a puzzle together. So I see I have the bumpies facing down because that's what's going to kiss onto the paper, right? So I'm going to figure out where this is going to go. I use a couple markers. I'll look at the top right. I'll look at maybe that side left and maybe the bottom. I've got to line them all up like a jigsaw and make sure they're where I want them to be. And then I'm going to close it and get it anchored into my stamp press. And now I'm going to go to my darker green, that moss green. And I'm going to get that pressed down. Now I've got the veins right on top. Look how easy that is. It looked like it was difficult. It's not. I think a lot of these stamps, they look like you are a full-on artist and you work so hard. But in fact, you did not work that hard. The stamp's doing all the work. It's just you kind of painting by numbers a little bit. So I stamped that. I've got that green all set. Love it. Now we got to move on to the flowers. The flowers are going to be in the top left-hand corner here. And now if I'm going a little fast for you, you can always pause the video. That is the beauty of video. I can't wait to be back in person soon though. But in the meantime, this is pretty nice to have this. So with the flowers feel, make sure that the bumpy side is down. That's how it's going to stamp onto the card. And it's a puzzle again. So I'm going to go, okay, these flowers are in between all the leaves. So I've got to kind of go round and around and figure out where that's going to go. That looks pretty good. You'll notice there's little stamens here and here. That helps me know where to line it up. This is a little off. There we go. Position that. Beautiful. Now we have 2 colors we can work with. We have yellow and orange. So remember, our lighter one is more filled in and our detail will be with the darker. So we go to our yellow. Like that. And get him all pressed down. And that's a little blotchy. I got to do it again. Let's do it again. Love it. Oh, that's fun. All right. So now we've got the little detail of the petal that's in the lower left of your stamp set. Looks like this. And again, lining it up on that flower, making sure, like a puzzle, see where you need it to go. And if you're a little off, it's okay, because it'll be off like consistently through the whole piece, right? So I'm going to anchor that down. And I'm going to get my orange, my tangerine color, like this. And I think we're good to go. Look at that. Looks so nice. So we've got all that detail. Now we've got our little butterfly. He's a monarch butterfly. So we're going to do the body of the butterfly in yellow and the detail in black. So the body is right here. My set is all... Yikes. Okay, there he is. So he's kind of a weird blob. What you need to know is when you look at him, it looks like a letter M on the top and the point is on the bottom, and it's going to be facing to the left, so the nose is facing to the right. So our butterfly is flying towards the flowers. That's kind of where you want him to be, like that. So M on the top, point, and the little nose on the right there. And again, this is going to be in the yellow. So we get the yellow. Do-do-do. Yellow, yellow. Look at that, one stamp. Good, good. Now we have our detail. That's going to be this little monarch looking butterfly guy down here. You will need some black ink for this. That is not in your set, but hopefully you have some kind of black ink. You can use Memento, any of the water-based inks. Even if you have, at this point, StazOn, it's not going to hurt it. It's totally fine. So any black ink will do. And I need to make sure that the detail, the bumpies are facing down and kind of get it, this is hard, get it all lined up over your yellow stamped image. Okay, and then we close it to get it anchored. And now we're going to get that black ink pad. And we should be hopefully good. Let's get him all nice and see how we did. Ooh, we did pretty good. Now, if you're a little off, I pretend like he's flying and it's blurry because he's flying so fast. So I'm a little off. That's okay. You know what I would do to fix that if you are a little off? Take a Uniball Signo white pen. We have them on our website. Uniball Signo white pen. It's just a white gel pen, and you just kind of dot it, and it's going to cover it up like whiteout, and nobody will know. So that's great. Another fun thing is you could use a sparkle pen, add some sparkle into there. That would be fun. I'm going to, oh, I have a sentiment to do too. Let's find the sentiment. He kind of migrated off of my stamp. Do you ever do that? Oh, there he is. Make sure you take off the other things before you move to the next thing, because that's never fun to accidentally stamp something twice, right? So I'm going to get that sentiment. You need to make sure when you set that down before you anchor it that you can read it like English and it's not upside down or backwards, right? And you can do that in any color. I'm going to do it in black. There we go. Oh, look how lovely that is. So yeah, if you had, here, I have a white pen. I was like, do I have one? This is the white Uniball Signo I was talking about. My favorite white pen. He comes in other colors too. Gold, silver. Oops, that's not it. Here he is. Gold, silver, black, red. Really great on dark paper. I kind of had, where'd my sample go? Over here. My goodness. Here we go. Like if you put stitching on the edge of something, you can do that with your white pen. But yeah, if I had a boo-boo, I could just kind of, it's like fake whiteout, right? I could do that. That would be fun. I can also come in with any kind of a sparkle, either the Spectrum Noir sparkle marker or a Jelly Roll sparkle, and I could add like a little dotted line like he's flying, that kind of thing. Really fun. I could also come into, like with my white Uniball Signo, I could come in if I wanted to add white centers back, or if I wanted to, like kind of like a highlight, like the light is hitting the leaves, it'll add white back into my piece because that white sits right on top. That's kind of fun. So let's take this off of here. Let's get the orange that came in your kit. And I should have a bone folder. I should, but I don't. I don't know where he is, but let's pretend I did, and I creased this really nicely. I'm gonna take my all-time favorite adhesive, which is my Easy Runner Grand. I'm gonna get him. And oh, I stamped on the back of something funny. What the heck? My goodness, do you ever do that? Doesn't matter, because nobody will see it, right? Okay, so let's, oh, that is the wrong piece of paper. See, I had the wrong card base. I knew I did. I knew I did. We're gonna make do, because that's what we do when we craft. We make it work, right? So I've got that down. I must have grabbed the wrong thing. How fun. And I'll get my trimmer out. There we go. And I will be anchoring that onto a different card base So I have my lovely card like that. I can add ribbon to that, all kinds of good stuff. So hopefully that was a quick and easy way to do the color layering. There's so many different types of stamps out there. And I believe part of your show special, if you check on the in with all the where you got the video where all the show specials are, it's going to tell you about our stamp and die promo, so you can buy lots of other stuff too. So I thank you for joining me, and have a great rest of your show.